Hello and welcome to the Waste of Time podcast. I'm Ben Rose.
And I'm Oliver Giles.
Yeah, so, this is the Waste of Time podcast. We're on episode
33.
That's crazy. I never thought we'd get this far.
We actually need to take a photo for this and put on Instagram, but we're actually live in person right now. Well, not live, but we are in person.
Yeah, we're alive, though.
It would be live, except my internet out here in Watsonville, California is bad.
And we don't have enough time, so fuck that.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's a Waste of Time podcast. We never have enough time.
Ballsack.com. Anyway,
Ben, would you like to read the caption for the slides this time around?
This is a quote from Oliver Giles. Quote, I nutted in the Watsonville water supply, end quote.
Allegedly.
Do you want to explain what you meant by that?
Not particularly.
Oh, okay, fair enough. All right, so now that we're done with that, let's go to our first slide, Life in College, or Life in Lockdown Part 2.
So I think general topics would be, how were our finals?
My finals fucking sucked, but everybody else did worse on them than I did, so I don't care. I did so well on my biochem final. I did probably decent on my inorganic, and then my PChem final, I probably knocked it out of the park, just like usual. Yeah, so finals are crazy. But chemistry is fun. I like chemistry. I like doing what I do, and I like my lab. Okay, how about you, Oliver?
For me, I only had one final. I think last time we may discuss this, I had to drop the Spanish class, because it turns out I'm not taking Spanish before in high school, and the class is very much geared towards those with at least one term of high school Spanish. By day 3, it was like full Spanish immersion course. All I learned how to say, and I've forgotten it now, was how do I find my liver on a map, which I didn't even learn from that. I learned it from a Criminal Minds episode. So, yeah, I had to drop that class out. I'm going to be taking like an online Spanish thing over the summer probably.
Como encuentro mi hígado en un mapa.
All right, there we go.
Yeah.
So I'm probably taking a Spanish course online, like a beginner Spanish course.
Duolingo.
Maybe, actually.
Yeah.
Something along those lines over the summer, and then take that course again next year, because there's only one teacher teaching it, and they only offer it in the fall, sadly. So, yeah. But I did really well, A+ on my photography. Woohoo! I got the most praise out of anyone there.
He had a gallery, and he put his photos up there, and honestly, they're really good. Like, if you guys need anyone, you should talk to Oliver, because he can do it.
Yeah, if you're in Ashland, Oregon, I'll do it.
Or if you're in Cleveland, Ohio, he wants to go to Cleveland. He won't tell you that. He'll deny it, but he wants to go to Cleveland. Thoughts on that?
I'm not denying it.
You're not okay.
I'd love to go see a Guardians game. Yeah, Progressive Field, fun. Anyway, yeah. So that's what we did. Finals. Now, next term, I have 2 different writing classes I can finally take, because I now have the prerequisites for them. Let's fucking go. And now I also have an environmental science class, which should be a lot of fun, because I took the first one of those in spring term of my freshman year.
Yeah, so for me, I'm taking physical chemistry part 2, so that's quantum mechanics, and then I'm taking chemical biology lab, and then microbiology, so like little baby microbe guys.
These are all courses that go towards your majors, right?
Yes.
You're double majoring.
I'm not taking any general education courses for the rest of.
Bam.
I know. I wish I could. Honestly, I love general ed, but I can't.
To be fair, I got a lot of mine out of the way early.
Yeah. I got all mine out of the way by the end of freshman year.
I think the most annoying one I have to do. I've been putting off math, which I probably shouldn't have done, but oh well, it'll come back to bite me in the ass, and when it does, we'll hear about it here on the Waste of Time podcast. So, any personal topics you want to go for?
These nuts. That's it. Any questions?
Brush deep nuts.
Brush deep nuts. Yes.
No one here is going to understand that.
And that's good. You're not supposed to.
So we had to cut out a lot of slides just for time, and also because we didn't have a whole ton to talk about. So we're going to move right on to viewer mail. That was never the intro to this. That was... Ben, what are you doing? Ben, that was the weekly Fuck 12 intro.
Oh!
And also, we do have... Ben, we're using the actual slide transitions I created with the .motion files.
Oh, my bad.
So, viewer mail, we do have 2 that were submitted to us. I posted a few days ago on my... on the Waste of Time podcast Instagram, on the story. Actually, at some point after this, after viewer mail, I will talk about what happened with the Waste of Time podcast Instagram, what happened with that, because there was an issue with that. But
bro got hacked.
Essentially, yeah. We'll talk about that in a minute. So, on the story, I put up a thing saying, hey, we're doing a podcast in the next couple of days. Give us something to talk about. So, we've got 2 viewer mail questions, which I think are going to be worthy of us talking about here, and a few more which I might just respond to on the story on Instagram. think that's a good way to do that because we got, I think, about 5 or 6.
So number one, how to make math. Well, it's actually pretty easy.
No, Ben, that's not what we're discussing here.
Oh, my bad.
I already had enough problems with YouTube issues and YouTube copyright and YouTube demonetization. Please don't.
I don't care about that. It's in Breaking Bad.
I mean, yeah.
Just because you know how to build a bomb doesn't mean you will.
True. Explain that to, censorship groups, though.
Yeah, honestly, like, seriously, just because you know how to build a bomb, like, FBI, get off my back, all right? I don't actually know how to build a bomb. Or do I? Okay.
Do you?
Next question.
So anyway, Ben, the first actual question that we actually received from real people,
yes,
not the weird back corners of your mind, Ben. What is the most odd physical sensation you ever felt?
One time at the Academy of Sciences in San Francisco, they have this electric eel exhibit, and you can put your 2 fingers on the electric eel, and usually it delivers a painful shock. However, one day I put my 2 fingers on it, and it didn't actually feel painful. I just felt shocked. So I didn't realize that sensation was weird until the other day when I saw live exposed wires, and my dumbass was like, "Oh, cool, gimme!" And I put my fucking finger on like a live circuit board because the people in my hallway really like chomping down on exit signs and like getting rid of them. So they left the circuit board, so I touched it and I got electrocuted. And my entire body felt so tense and my heart felt like so tense. I was like, what the fuck is happening? That was the weirdest sensation.
You're an idiot.
Yeah. Yes.
All I got from that is Ben's dumb. No, I'm kidding.
I know.
I'm kidding. You're not an idiot,
stupid.
but that was really stupid.
I told everyone, and they're like, why the fuck would you touch live?
What is wrong with you?
But yeah,
my answer is weirder than that, but like not as dumb.
America! Sorry.
The weirdest sensation.
That's
all the. I mean, like I think if you look, I think it's a pretty well disputed. Well, I think it's a pretty disputed statement. Does it? So I can't go for that, but it does feel weird.
Oh my god, he just admitted to that. So you think of me talking about bombs versus you talking about.
I'm gonna contact my friend and see if he can remix that for me. Anyway, so the second one, actually, Ben, this is kind of related to what you said.
Oh god.
Is what's the most like physically painful thing you've ever had happen?
When I was a little kid, I climbed up a fence to try to get my friend's backpack, and I slipped. And those fences, it was a chain link with those little spikies on the top, and it cut like a little gash into the underarm of my underarm. And the underarm, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
My underarm.
Yeah.
And it was super painful when I looked and I saw everything like spilling out. And then the doctors had to like stitch it up, and they're like, "God, this is gonna hurt a lot." And then they put like this special like liquid. They put hydrogen peroxide in my open wound. That hurts so
I used to be
much.
afraid of Band-Aids when I was a kid because the only time I ever had Band-Aids, they also used hydrogen peroxide. So I automatically just thought that Band-Aids stung like hell.
The worst part is
I was about
peroxide.
7 when I figured out that wasn't the case.
Peroxide literally doesn't do anything.
I just use water.
You have catalase. Like your body breaks down hydrogen peroxide. It's such a bad thing to put on your skin. Don't do that if you can avoid it.
Yeah, it's not. I just use like warm water.
Yeah. Warm water or soap or whatever.
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe
That's
both.
it. What about you?
Ben, what do you think mine was? Because you know me for a while.
Sticking your finger in a blender.
No.
Oh.
Gout was worse.
Oh.
Gout was worse. It may be because with the blender thing, I was in shock. That could be a large part of it. In fact, I think it is. So, those who don't know, when I was 12 years old, Ben knew me during this time. I decided to stick my finger in an immersion blender. Not an accident. I just my dumbass impulsive brain said, I wonder what this does.
Let the intrusive thoughts win.
And I did it. And the first time nothing happened. I did it again, and it cut off the tip of my left index finger. Now, like a smart person, I decided to try to handle this by myself. I went to the bathroom, tried to wash it off, and after about 5 minutes, I'm like, Mom, I need help. And we went to the hospital. Spent Yom Kippur in the ER being operated on.
No.
And to this day, the left index finger of my finger, I got it sewn back on. So it looks a little bit maybe visually odd. I might post a picture of that if I can get a good shot of that versus my normal finger. It doesn't look that bad, not like super deformed or anything like that, but it is a bit. I have slightly less sensitivity to the tip of that finger than I do my other one. So no, Gout was 100% worse.
I've heard it's the most painful sensation.
I would not wish it on anyone. Well, very limited people, should we say.
It doesn't get better either.
It doesn't go away, but there's medication you can take to make sure it doesn't happen. Like, doesn't flare up. Like, I'm on medication for that. But for me, I dropped a heavy board on my foot. This is like over quarantine. It was July of 2020. We actually discussed this on the podcast, I think, when it was happening.
Yes, we did.
So I dropped a heavy board on my foot. And my toe, swelled up the next day. The next day it was kind of sore. And then after that, I woke up, I was crying in pain. I went to the urgent care center. And it's just a bone bruise. I'm like, this is not a bone bruise. I've had a bone bruise. This ain't that. Believe me. So I got an emergency podiatrist appointment, which is not a sentence I think you'd ever hear.
Foot doctor!
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's what they are. Really?
No.
Okay.
It's just like feet. Continue.
I'm about to say, you just want to look at people's feet and get paid for it?
Continue.
Yeah.
For free? Continue.
Subscribe to the Wasteland Podcast OnlyFans when we create it.
Oh, yeah! Continue.
That was actually bad. That's actually not bad. So, I got an emergency podiatrist appointment, and they stabbed my swelled up bunion foot with a needle and extracted white crystals from it and shit.
Oh shit.
And this is gout. And then to make things worse, I was prescribed some anti-inflammatories, which they didn't help. They kept it inflamed because the podiatrist I went to was a moron.
Yeah. So you had
Dr. Flowers, if you're listening to this, you suck.
Fuck you, Dr. Flowers, smoking on that Dr. Flowers pack. It's loud. It's so fucking loud, bro. Wait, is Dr. Flowers, do they have a wife or a husband or both?
I don't know.
Okay, whichever one I fucked them.
I don't think anyone would be attracted to that moron.
Damn.
He's the reason I was in pain he's the reason I was on crutches for a full month instead of 4 days.
Fuck Dr. Flowers, bro.
I actually did have a gout flare up a bit in September of 2020. Sorry, September 2021. And I was on crutches for 2 days, so I know how to manage it now. But yeah. Anyway, let's move on. Those were our two very interesting viewer mail segments. One of those is gonna be censored to hell. Moving on.
Fuck that. Oh, wait, are you gonna censor Dr. Flowers?
No, I'm not.
Fuck that guy.
Anyway, so we have an MLB report update. So big news.
Football.
Yeah, do you want to update on that?
So let's just do sports update quickly.
Sure.
So the World Cup is happening. As it stands right now, it looks like it's going to be Argentina versus France.
I've been kind of actively not supporting that just because of Qatar doing a lot of really shitty things.
Yeah, but also America does shitty things. Personally, I think that,
Right, but in America, you're not going to openly get arrested for practicing Judaism.
That's definitely something that is completely correct. Yeah, I get you. Okay,
so
maybe that's a good reason not to support it. Yeah, I guess I didn't think of it that way.
There's just a lot of really nasty stuff going on, but I've watched some of the games.
But basically, it's going to be France versus Argentina, and hopefully we see Argentina win, because France I don't like them. They won last time. So.
Smelly.
Yeah, they're frogs. In terms of football, the San Francisco 49ers have a really good story.
They
got the last draft pick as their quarterback.
I want to point out, despite having literally everyone in the world being injured, they are still somehow doing incredibly well. They're not scoring a whole ton, but their defense is insane.
Oh my fucking god, yes they are.
No.
Dude. Okay,
not compared to the league average for scoring this year.
Well, okay, wait. You haven't. Okay, our quarterback Jimmy G, the old Jimmy G, he fucking sucked ass.
Yeah.
He was so bad.
Injured
but
again.
Then he got injured
again.
Yes. So this guy named Brock Purdy, the last draft pick, came in and he has been amazing. He scored 5 touchdowns in 3 quarters for the last game, and then the game before that, he came in and he started scoring. So it looks like this guy, the guy who's the last draft pick, keep in mind, is an asset to the 49ers.
That happens quite often.
Because the Niners are really, really good. They have a really good offense, a really good defense, but a fucking horrible quarterback.
Yeah.
Or they have a good quarterback.
I know, but the thing is, if you compare them to, say, the league average for scoring, they're slightly below that.
True, but that's because Jimmy's just ass.
Yeah, the thing is, it doesn't matter, though, because their defense is absolutely unbeatable.
It is insane. And honestly,
it's so much fun to watch.
I don't watch basketball, so I don't know about that, but I do know that the Niners, hopefully they go to the World Series, the Super Bowl, and fuck the Rams, because beat LA. All right.
Yep. They've only been LA since 2017 again. But
beat St. Louis.
Yep. Anyway, so MLB report. Astros won the World Series. Last time we recorded a podcast was during that big Astros-Mariner game that went 18 innings, and former San Francisco Giant Mauricio Dubon was in that game. So Mauricio Dubon, actually important though, first Honduras-born player to be in a World Series. That's Awesome. I love that.
Really?
That's so great. Yeah. Yep. There are actually very few in the major leagues to begin with. I think there's only 2 this year.
Oh, there's a lot of Dominicans.
Yes. But in terms of Honduras, it's very few, and he was one of the only ones. He's the only one in the World Series. That's awesome. They're not getting that bat, but he actually made a fairly major play in the outfield. That was his defensive replacement. He was actually pretty good.
He didn't hit?
No, he's just a defensive. He's not the best hitter, but he's a really good defender. So he was used as a defensive replacement in late innings. So anyway, Astros won the World Series this year. Hyped about that. Now.
They didn't cheat.
Yep. Although, actually, if you ask Yankees manager Aaron Boone, they should not have opened the roof. That's why Aaron Judge's home run was not a home run. It was caught because the roof was open and the wind was blowing in. Motherfucker, Aaron Boone, shut your damn mouth. You're an idiot. You're a moron.
They opened the roof?
They opened the roof is open. It's a beautiful night. It's a warm night in Houston. Yeah, the roof's going to be open. And also because there's also mechanical problems that they could not close the roof.
Yeah.
But anyway, speaking of Aaron Judge, everyone thought he was going to the Giants. He didn't sign a massive deal with the Yankees.
Again?
Yeah, he's going back to the Yankees. Crazy, insane deal. I mean, he deserves to get paid after what he's done. He's just been incredible. Also, I don't know if we talked about this, but Albert Pujols joined the 700 home run club. That guy's, technically, he says he's age 41. He's older than that. I think we all know that it's pretty common practice in other countries to lie about your age to be eligible for the MLB draft. And who cares? He's an incredible athlete.
If he's good, he's good.
Exactly. And even when he's not good, he's just been, he's been playing the game for several decades now. Just crazy. Love that guy. He had a great career, Hall of Fame career for sure. Anyway, speaking of the Giants, though, they did get Carlos Correa. I am psyched about that. Noah Syndergaard yesterday went to the Dodgers. Not so happy about that. Oh, by the way, I said yesterday. Today is the 15th of December. And Jacob DeGrom to the Rangers.
DeGrom.
What? Sorry, I just want to point this out. The Rangers, yes, they have a new core. Bruce Bochy, former Giants manager, is now the Rangers manager for 3 years.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I know.
Did we kick their ass in the World Series?
Yeah, I know. It's weird. So here's the thing. The Rangers, yes, they have a lot of talent now, but still, they're not really the place where you go if you want to win a World Series. They're the place where you go when you're washed up and you've got nowhere else to go. Jacob DeGrom was one of the most high-value free agents this offseason. The fact he went there, it's just crazy. And also,
it's probably the money.
You think that, but there's got to be more teams that are offering more money than the Texas fucking Rangers.
Oh, maybe this is the chance to get big.
I doubt it, though. I don't know what that is. There's probably going to be something that comes out about that later on. But also, it's one of the worst parks in the league for pitchers. It's a bandbox. Ridiculous. Anyway, let's move on to...
We have a Patreon /vaccine/OnlyFans. So
We're only 17 minutes in, so we can... Yeah.
We are?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So, we have a Patreon. Basically, you know what a Patreon is? Duh.
You pay us money and we do something, I guess.
Do shit! We don't do anything!
What is aquarium?
We're legends and we're awesome. And we get money so I can buy more vegetables and fruits.
I can buy more
and
Atlas
stick
Earth
them on my
properties.
ass. And Oliver can buy more NFT land.
Actually, I have not spent any money on it, so I guess buy more does not make any sense. But yeah.
You can get money while doing it.
You can fund my... Oh, yeah, I should put on my slide. I got a Nintendo Switch finally.
Also,
You can fund my Switch games now.
Get your bivalent vaccine ASAP.
I'm getting my booster on Friday. It's funny because, when we last did an in-person podcast... Well, no. We did one in LA. That doesn't count because we never released that one. But the last one we did...
was after
I had my first booster. You didn't. And now you have one and I don't. So, kind of trading places here.
Yeah, exactly. I had my first booster. I didn't have my second.
No, this is in January of 2022.
Holy shit, what?
Yeah, you didn't have your booster. We talked about that.
Podcast between then. Okay.
Well, I mean, we did the live podcast in LA.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
I'm just talking about live in-person podcasts.
And let's be honest, the Fuck the Dodgers national anthem was probably the highlight of the Waste of Time podcast.
Fun story, my phone bricked itself, so even if I wanted to release that audio, I can't because I don't have it anymore.
We can do it right now if you want, but I don't.
Nah. No, I mean, we already published the Fuck the Dodgers audio. Anyway,
we published it today.
So we have to shift gears now to something that's more depressing and really...
Wait, no. What about the OnlyFans?
We already talked about that.
Oh, okay, yeah. Feet pics.
So,
anyways, Kanye West is a Nazi.
It's not funny, but
it's
yeah.
It's not funny at all. But what is funny is the fact I said feet pics first. Kanye West is a Nazi. Nazis fucking suck. They're bad. He was on Alex Jones. He said some really stupid shit, as always. He's palling around with like actual white supremacists, like
It's
actual.
not a good look
Generous
when you're on
people.
Alex Jones, and Alex Jones is the most sane person in that interview.
Yeah.
And
but
that's not a good thing. I'm not praising Alex Jones here, but holy hell.
And I would just like to point out that the guy that he pals around with, Nick Fuentes, is a super homophobic, super racist, super anti-quote degeneracy Catholic guy. And he has a Discord server full of cat femboys that he likes to have sex with. So make it that what you will. Every single accusation is a confession with these people. It's the same people that are calling gay people pedophiles and then marrying 16-year-old women. Or 16-year-old girls. They're not even women. Like, honestly, if you call a gay person a pedophile, I'm looking at you. It's you. You're the pedophile. Also, Kanye West, he's like, fuck that guy.
I think just like since the last podcast we did in October, it's like at first I'm like, okay, he just wants clout or something. You know, he's fading from popularity. He wants attention, and then no, he actually believes this shit, and that's scary.
It's horrible.
Like we said, like you felt bad for him, like back in like 2016 and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I even felt bad at him. Yes, I even felt bad for him when he started to divorce Kim. I felt bad for him during the Donda 2 watch party. I even watched it, but like. When you start praising Hitler and like going, oh, the Nazis are right, like
that's just all kinds of messed
makes
up
up for that, especially if you're fucking big, like if you're as big as he is.
Yeah. And I don't know if he has some kind of angle with what he's saying, if he has some kind of goal in mind here, or if he's just spouting his mouth off, and maybe it's actually what he believes.
It's just like the White Lives Matter. He all started with White Lives Matter.
Yeah, I think that was to get attention, I'm going to say.
And Candace Owens, yeah.
But this is something entirely different, and it's just disturbing and really disgusting.
Yeah.
I mean, he's always had a bit of an ego complex, and that was, celebrities have that. That just happens when you get a big, when you're a huge celebrity like he was, and I guess is. Now he's more of an infamous celebrity.
Yeah.
But now it's just getting worse
He's
and
like,
worse with each passing week, it
people
seems.
used to say he was like Azealia Banks, but like, at least Azealia Banks... Actually, no. He's exactly like Azealia Banks, because she did the same shit.
Yeah.
She did the same shit. I don't know, man.
It's just messed up. Anyway, let's move on to something that's a bit more not fucked up. Yeah.
Drew Gaming United's best and worst games of 2022. So as you guys know, Oliver owns this gaming blog called True Gaming United. Please subscribe and join the blogger if you haven't already, because he posts very good game reviews that will help you out with your games.
And if we get another subscriber that comes directly from this podcast, I can check where subscribers come from. I'll link it in the description here. Ben will probably finally finish up the Animal Crossing New Leaf review.
Oh, yeah, totally.
But yeah, he'll do that when I make the Jose Canseco video.
Yeah. The Jose Canseco video has to come out.
Okay, I'll make it. I'll start a baseball channel. How about that?
The Jose Canseco video has to come out. Oh, I'm so looking forward to that.
That was an idea born out of my depression in like freshman year of college.
That is awesome.
What?
It was born out of your depression.
Okay, yeah, but I do want to say that there's an Twitter account that's just it's just Jose Canseco. He posts Jose Canseco's Twitter stuff, but with correct grammar. I think it's called like Jose Canseco with correct punctuation.
Jose Canseco is like drill, but actually real.
And like has a creepy obsession with his own daughter.
Oh yeah, that's it. I feel like drill would do that.
Yeah. Anyway, so yep, this is True Gaming United's best and worst games of 2022, suggested by me and some of my True Gaming United contributors.
Not me.
Nope. If you don't know, if True Gaming United is a very community-based blog. I've got an email up there, an email account. Submit a review if you want me to post it. A video review, if you can write an Easter egg guide, something like that. I'll read it and put this above. I might even post it to the blog. Who knows?
Yes.
Also, that email you can submit to is polarglass2@gmail.com. I'll be changing it soon. I know it's terrible. Anyway, so best games of 2022. Elden Ring. I thought it was, at first I was not super impressed by it. It's just another Souls-like game, that kind of stuff. Graphically, it wasn't great, but I really enjoyed the gameplay loop. I finally got around to playing it, and it's honestly really fun.
Everyone loves Elden Ring. It's like it's clearly up there, top 10.
I don't think it's as deserving of praise as maybe people say it is. It's not quite as original as people think it is, but I really do like it. Yeah. I think that, again, it might be a bit too similar to something like Dark Souls for me. Like, again...
But Dark Souls is really good.
Dark Souls is good.
Everyone loves
Dark Souls is good, but I prefer for a new IP to have its own kind of identity that's different from what it came from, even if it is a kind of spin-off by a similar developer like this one is. Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. Yeah, it's 2 years late, but it came out in 2022. What?
Oh.
No, I mean like it was supposed to come out in 2019, but they took another 2 years to work it out and make it actually work, and it's really good. Yeah. I cannot stress this enough. On the Series X, PS5, and PC, visually, this game is beautiful. It looks insanely good.
Is it on Switch?
It's on Switch as well. It doesn't look quite as good there, but it still looks. It looks about the same as it does in the Xbox One.
Is it a $60 game?
It's a $60 game. It's actually on sale right now for $30.
I might pick it up.
It's on sale right now for $30. I think the sale ends in like 5 days.
I'm gonna pick it
up. In fact, a bunch of LucasArts Star Wars and EA Star Wars games are on sale right now, including The Force Unleashed on the Switch. So go check those out if you're interested. Okay. And also including Jedi Academy titles, Star Wars: Old Republic. Knights of the Old Republic. The Old Republic is the online one, but yeah. The Star Wars Skywalker Saga. Really, the only not so great element in my mind is the character creator seems to be missing, and hopefully they add that in later. Other than that, it's a fantastic way to play through them. Actually, I do have one other gripe about it. It's divided into trilogies, the first 3, then the prequels and the sequels. If you want to play episode 6, you gotta play 4 and 5 first.
Yeah, you did say that.
Versus like the complete saga where you could play any game, but you could play any movie, but you had to start from the first mission of each one. That makes more sense to me. And I kind of wish they hadn't locked it behind that, but still, it gives you a reason to actually play through all the movies, and they're pretty good. I'm working through my way through episode 7 right now. I've actually put more than a day into the game already. And the reason I'm only in episode 7 is because it's so much fun to just explore the world, fly around, use all the characters' unique abilities. If you have certain characters, like, say, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker, as the 2 characters in your party, they'll talk to each other and say things. Rey and Kylo Ren will insult each other. And I think that's really cool. It's a really neat bit of continuity. Reminds me a lot of what games like Mortal Kombat and Injustice do with their intro lines. So that's a really fun game. Skywalker Saga, pick it up. I think it's pretty good. I'd say it's an 8.5 out of 10, in my opinion.
Do you think it's in top 10?
Games this year, there were a whole ton of big ones that came out that I really played, so it's top 10 2022 games I've played for sure.
Got it.
A Plague Tale, Requiem. It's dark as hell. I mean, it's a Plague Tale. It's not, you control rats. It's spooky and scary and dark and a bit brutal at times and sad. But if you enjoy narrative games with stories that actually pull you in, it's one of the best I've played in a long, long time. Plague Tale Innocence was great. Plague Tale Requiem. It's on the Xboxes, the PCs, the PlayStations. It's on the Switch as a cloud gaming only title. So if you buy it for Switch, beware of that. You gotta have a good internet connection, so you can't play it on the go really. Switch with cellular connection. Now, that's an idea.
Oh wow.
But seriously though, Plague Tale Requiem, really fun game, good gameplay mechanics, and it feels like a very natural escalation of what they introduced in the first game, which I like. It's different enough that if you're only playing it for the gameplay for some reason, you'll still find something new to play and still find some new reasons to like it. But the story continues. It's a very well written story. I enjoy it quite a bit, and the characters all feel very fleshed out and nuanced, and they actually feel like really well written relationships. I kind of compare, a lot of time I think compared to books or movies, games tend to have maybe not the best character relationships compared to other forms of media, but it really does feel like a properly invested story that they actually took their time to create, and I really enjoy it. Visually on the current gen consoles, that being Series X, Series S, PS5, and of course PC, it looks. No. It looks it looks fairly good on the Switch because it's a cloud gaming title, which means it can look a little bit better if you've got a good internet connection. But it looks really, really good on the Series X. My friend's put in the PS5. She tells me it's pretty good on there too. I've seen some gameplay on PC, but it looks pretty good. Graphics aren't everything, but when you tie together graphics, good gameplay, and an excellent story, it just makes it for a top 10 game, in my opinion, this year. Horizon Forbidden West. I don't own a PS5. My friend does, but when my friend went on vacation for a week, he let me borrow his PS5, and I played a lot of Forbidden West, and that game is fun. I played Horizon Zero Dawn back on the PS4. It's maybe not the ideal sequel in my opinion because it doesn't really distinguish itself in terms of gameplay all that much from the original. The story is a little bit better, and the graphics are beautiful, and the open world's lovely. If you enjoy open world games, kind of like Assassin's Creed, Breath of the Wild, Immortals, Phoenix Rising, or obviously Horizon Zero Dawn. It's a good game for you. Pick it up. I love just the way you can make your way through the environment. It reminds me a lot of Far Cry mixed with Assassin's Creed, which is a winning combo in my opinion.
Yeah, great.
Love that a lot. Tunic. This is a game I think maybe you've even heard of this. It's just a fun, Ben. It's just like a fun little indie game.
I haven't heard of it.
I'm not normally a huge indie game fan. It's a roguelike, and I know roguelikes get a lot of shit because everyone's making them now. One hit you die, blah blah blah.
Like Cuphead.
Kind of Cuphead was just more of a really hardcore shooter, kind of like hardcore platformer. It was like a top-down dungeon crawler kind of game, and it's difficult. But honestly, I think the cute aesthetic of it and the really beautiful. It has a very similar graphic style to something like Ruby Grim Eclipse, Breath of the Wild, Immortal Phoenix Rising, where it's kind of anime inspired in its graphic style.
Love that.
Anime cell shaded kind of look. It's really beautiful.
Like Breath of the Wild.
It's if you have it on if you have Xbox Game Pass, it's on there. It's on Game Pass PC as well, I believe. It's on all the devices, all the consoles. It might even be on iOS. I'm not quite sure about that, so don't quote me on that one.
iOS.
But yeah. Also, not on the list, but throw in Gunfire Reborn. That's on the Xboxes and on the PCs, and it's coming to other things later on. It's a lot of fun. It's a roguelike, but it's an FPS game. It's a roguelike FPS, which is pretty unique. But yeah, Tunic is like a top-down dungeon crawler roguelike. It's a lot of fun. I love it.
Yeah.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Remake.
Does it count?
Yeah, no, because it's technically a remake. It has the same title. But it has the same title and some of the same characters, but the story is different. It's a very, very different game than the first one. Yes. There's stealth, there's crafting.
Right now?
There's no, I'm playing Black Ops 3. I actually uninstalled it, sadly. I do have it. It's a massive game though. So I uninstalled it to make room for some new stuff. But it's a really good game. In my opinion, Call of Duty's been slipping a bit in recent years. The stories have gone to shit. In fact, some games don't even have them. In favor of multiplayer, which wasn't very good. They just got kind of repetitive and generic, but just like Modern Warfare 2019, the original Modern Warfare remake that came out a couple years ago, this one is really, really good. I enjoy the mechanics. It added stuff like crafting. They added stealth, and for the first time in a Call of Duty game, you have stealth that's not garbage. God, I still have nightmares to Advanced Warfare's awful stealth missions, but the stealth missions in this game are a lot of fun. And it's not every level, and they're spaced really well. There's only one stealth segment I think that felt a little bit annoying towards the end of the game, and that's just because of how fucking difficult it was. Like there's randomized. It's difficult, but it's in a way it's very rewarding to complete it because it's randomized enemy patterns, so you can't just watch like a tutorial. It's a lot of fun though, and of course the multiplayer. Call of Duty multiplayer has been. It's been not so great the last couple of years, but it's always been solid. It's really good this time around. Probably the best multiplayer I'd say since Black Ops 3, which was like a fair few years ago now.
They're just trying to be Fortnite.
No, I mean they're not. I think not. I'm not even talking about Warzone here. I'm just talking about the actual multiplayer here.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, so I mean Warzone is fun in its own right, but battle royales are not really my thing. I played PUBG. I kind of enjoyed that. I played a little bit of Apex. That's
Shout out Fortnite.
No.
Shout out.
No. So, it's Modern Warfare 2 Remake. Good game. Actually, we're talking about a few more remakes later on, but not on this part of the list. So, moving on. High on Life, a game by Rick and Morty creator Justin Roiland, and it is, if you've not played it, there's a good chance you haven't. It only came out on December 13th, a few days ago.
It did?
Yeah, it only came out recently.
Really?
There was a game preview early access that came out a while back. But the full game came out a couple days ago, and I'm loving it. It is... Not only is it fun and unique, you collect guns and weapons that talk, which seems like it can get annoying, and it can. You can turn off the weapon dialogue though if you want to. They foresaw that being annoying, so they made a slider you can turn it off. But yeah, whatever weapon you're holding, if you want to negotiate with another NPC right throughout the world, the weapon that you're holding, some weapons talk more aggressively to people, some don't, and so it really does change the way you play the game. However, it also mocks story-based RPGs like Mass Effect or Elden Ring or Dragon Age. This is an achievement for shooting a child. Come on now. Yeah. And yes, I got the achievement.
Let's go! No Russian.
That's actually not in the remake, but yeah. So it's a really fun game. If you're into the Rick and Morty style of humor, it's like that. It's a bit less sadistic and cruel. There's a lot less like sad deaths, I guess you could say.
Rick and Morty.
But it's got a very similar style of humor. I really like that. Fun game, and honestly, it looks visually better than it has any real right to for what it is.
Yeah, I saw him play and it looks nice.
Yeah. I'm actually going to switch over to playing that right now.
Rick and Morty.
I have not played any of the Rick and Morty games. There's like one for the phone, there's also a VR game. Anyway, the last one on this list is Gotham Knights. It was not maybe not the most stable release, but they patched out the issues about 3 days in, and I honestly love it. I love it for the story.
The Gotham games kind of suck.
Is it the only? What do you mean?
Games with Gotham in them suck.
No.
Or Arkham.
No. Just no. Actually, no.
I swear they were bad.
I think the Arkham series being named one of the best-selling and best-rated video game series of all time will disagree with you on that.
I see. Okay, continue.
It actually is though.
Resume.
So yeah, with Gotham Knights, they had some issues at launch with some frame rate on the console versions being locked at 30, which not the best, but even at the beginning it was frame rate blended 30, so it looked decent. I really enjoy it. The story is a lot of fun. The different characters are really fleshed out, and I think my one complaint about the Batman games, the Arkham games, is that they kind of felt very self-contained. You know, for a Batman property, there weren't any real mentions of other heroes in the universe. Gotham Knights leans full into that. There's Wonder Woman shows up briefly, Superman, there's a bunch of different characters. I mean, Batman's technically in it, but he dies really early in. I mean, that's kind of the whole thing is he dies. Speaking of Batman, Kevin Conroy passed away. Speaking of the Arkham games, I should have probably mentioned that earlier. But yeah, Batman voice actor Kevin Conroy, he played Batman in the animated series, just was the Batman for so long, did pass away. That's really, really tragic. He was not in this. However, he did, before he passed away, record a few lines for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, which comes out next year. So he's going to be heard in that, which is good. In my opinion, that's a good thing. So yeah, Gotham Knights, I think it's a lot of fun. The combat's very good. It's developed by the same people who developed Arkham Origins, and I really enjoy it. Now moving on to the worst games of 2022.
Alright, wait, these aren't the worst games
Okay,
of 2022?
yeah, Ben's right. Let me qualify these. So I'm not including any bargain bin, $5 game, indie game, crappy mobile game fodder. No, these are games developed by big studios, big production teams that had people excited and then flopped hardcore.
Most disappointing game.
Flopped harder than me in 10th grade jumping into a pool.
Flopped harder than me in 8th grade jumping into a pool.
Exactly. Number 1, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Edition.
Boo!
I got my Nintendo Switch 2 days before this came out. Did not know these were coming out, thankfully. So instead of pre-ordering these, I bought Legends Arceus instead. I have since then played them. My friend lent me his cartridge after he finished the game, and they are bad.
Yeah.
Not only are they glitchy, the graphics... Okay, look. Switch is never going to have the best graphics. I understand that. I don't really care about that. But they do look like they came off the PS1. Poke Park for the Nintendo Wii had better graphics.
Or the 3DS,
this is an issue.
Honestly, it's worse than any 3DS graphics.
It really is. It's bad. The glitches are game-breaking. People losing... Like, the first week, it took them a week to fix this. Yeah. 10 hours of progress lost with game crashes. And it wasn't just a few people. A lot of people had this problem. My friend had this problem. Twice. Just terrible. And the gameplay itself, yes, Pokemon always has a very, each Pokemon mainline game has the central battling gameplay. They're all based around Pokemon battling and gym leaders for the most part, that kind of stuff. But they always seem to have their own unique gimmicks, whether it's flying or, crafting or open world survival or, befriending Pokemon. Yeah. They all seem to have a very unique gimmick that makes them memorable. There's nothing here. It's just so bland and boring.
I just feel like they have to release Pokemon games again and again. But what about Arceus? Couldn't they just kept that?
So here's the thing. The Switch era has had 5 games so far, including a couple remakes, but it's had 5 games. The 3DS era, we got a game once every 2 to 3 years. They didn't push themselves, but they're doing it now, and the quality is dropping off, and people notice.
That's a problem. Exactly. My friends were talking about that one time. It was kind of funny. We were at a party, and they just sat down, and we're talking about Pokemon for a couple of hours. Because it's true. Yeah. Everybody knows, even the big not Pokemon fans know
that the quality is getting bad.
Yeah, for sure. Like, even I know it. I'm not a big Pokemon fan.
Right. The thing is, people can think, they have to get it out, they have to push it out the door in time for Black Friday. That's not an excuse for it being this bad. And by the way, Pokemon is one of the best-selling media franchises in the world. If you combine the cards, the TV show, and the games, it is the best-selling media franchise of all time. They would not have lost any money if they waited 2 weeks to fix the glitches and fix the problems.
Then, Nintendo doesn't put anything on sale ever. like
No.
their own shit.
And when they do, it's only by like $5 to $10. That's
yeah,
it.
exactly. So
If you want to get a good deal Nintendo game, you go to like Deku Deals or GameStop.com or
why
something.
do they need to be out for Black Friday? Like,
I don't know.
oh.
Because they didn't even like release a Switch bundle with it either.
Yeah.
I mean, they released a Switched a Scarlet and Violet Switched there was a Scarlet and Violet themed Switch, did not come with the game. So the fuck's the point? They never do anymore. Like same thing with the Animal Crossing thing. I don't know. And it just wasn't. It could have been so good. And I was actually excited for it, but no. Anyway, next up is Gran Turismo 7. The first Gran Turismo game on the PlayStation 5, and visually it's nice. Everything else about it is bad. More microtransactions than an NFT-themed mobile game.
Oh god.
Broken at launch. And for a racing game, the cars sound bad. It sounds like... Have you played Cars 3 Driven to Win based off the Disney movie Cars 3?
No.
They sound like they came out of that. It does not sound like a... Like, the thing is, Gran Turismo has always had high-quality games for the most part. And even when the tracks aren't the best or the car selection's maybe a bit minimal, the sound is always excellent and the design is always perfect. No, this is just bad. It just wasn't very good. And there was not a lot of post-launch support either to fix the issues, even with all of the backlash. It's still not a great game. It just, in terms of potential, like, Gran Turismo is PlayStation's racer that's supposed to compete with Forza. No, it's not doing that. I'm sorry. This is really bad. Especially based on how often we get Gran Turismo games, which is I think this has been the first one in a good long time. And it was such a disappointment for how long it's been since the last one. So this was not a good launch. I also think the lack of post-launch support to fix the issues and, fix all the microtransaction bullshit and the poor sound design, there's just no post-launch support there.
Oh man.
Moving on to a Switch game.
This is like a 4 fucking line one, so guys,
yep.
get ready.
Bayonetta 3. Now, I love the first Bayonetta game on the Xbox. I enjoy the second one on the Wii U.
What?
Bayonetta 3 is bad. This game was supposed to come out in 2017, by the way. It's been in development hell for that long. That tends to make games a bit iffy when they eventually do release. This one was particularly terrible, though. The frame rate drops constantly. You can't, it's an unlocked frame rate, so, it can be 45 FPS, but oftentimes it'll drop down to 20. I wish you could just cap it at 30.
Yeah.
And have it run stable 30, because Bayonetta, it's a very intricate game with, it's by Platinum Games. You have to nail the combos and the timing just right on the fighting, otherwise you're screwed.
It's unplayable then.
Now you see the problem.
Yeah.
When you can't choose the timing, and also there's input lag too, which doesn't make it any better.
Fucking Switch ports.
No, it's not a Switch port. Bayonetta.
No way that it was developed for the Switch.
Yeah, it was. Nintendo bought Bayonetta as a franchise and ran it into the ground kind of with this one.
Because the Switch is just underpowered. It's supposed to be underpowered. That's kind of...
Yeah, it's supposed to be portable. That's kind of the thing. But at least make games that work for it.
Exactly.
Nintendo, I think, is forgetting its own hardware limitations.
I think Nintendo is true.
The original Bayonetta HD upscale that came out this year for the 360 and the Xbox One and the Series X sold more than this did.
I think they found Bayonetta not good for their... I think they wanted it as a Smash character, and they didn't want it for anything else.
Yeah.
And so they got the Smash character, and they realized the game wasn't good for their image.
Right, but the thing was, though, they've always had a couple mature, more adult-oriented games on the Nintendo platforms, and the Wii U Bayonetta 2 was actually really good.
I've heard.
It was actually really fun. I enjoyed playing it.
I've heard.
Maybe it wasn't quite as intricate as the original one, but it was still good. Another thing that annoys me is that they made 3... There's not alternate... There's always been different difficulty choices, but even the hardest difficulty is really fucking easy. The whole point of Bayonetta and most Platinum game styles, similar to something like Ninja Gaiden, it's like Dark Souls. It's supposed to be challenging but rewarding when you get the hang of the controls.
They're gonna keep this soon.
I know. I know we gotta switch up. But yeah, this one, Bayonetta 3 was just bad.
Booty!
Bad.
Sorry.
Yeah, pretty much. Moving on, Bayonetta 3, bad. Postal 4. Did anyone know they're making a fourth Postal game? I sure as fuck didn't.
Even? No name.
I mean, I know Postal's pretty... The first 2 games are pretty well known and actually beloved in some regards, and the remakes are pretty good. This one was just... It felt like it was just so empty and bland. It felt kind of like Dead Rising 4 or one of the earlier Dead Island games, really. You know, the first Dead Island game from 2011. It's just
3. What happened to Postal 3?
It was also bad. It wasn't as bad though, but yeah, it was just a generic first-person killer game. No real heart, no real soul to this. They've always been over-the-top violence and crass humor, but it just felt empty compared to the last ones. Now, moving on to the most hyped games of 2023. Forza Motorsport. We're getting a Forza Motorsport reboot from Microsoft Studios and Turn 10 Games. The last Forza Motorsport game was Forza Motorsport 7 way back in 2017. By the time this releases, it will be about 6 years. About damn time. I love this Forza series, and I think a lot of people are really excited for this. I'm excited because I get to play this one day one on Game Pass, so I don't actually have to buy it. But I'm really hyped about it.
Suicide Squad.
Yeah, Suicide Squad killed... Oh, I spelled that wrong, didn't I? Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. Developed by the same people who made the Arkham games. So it's like the Arkham games in the same universe, but
that's
with...
the Batman guy.
But with Kevin Conroy still kind of in it. But with the Suicide Squad and the Justice League is evil, you gotta kill superheroes. That's gonna be really cool from what we've seen of it. Graphically, it looks good. If the gameplay is anything similar to the Arkham games, which have been shown off before, then it's gonna be top notch. Probably it has a real shot at being Game of the Year. Hogwarts Legacy. Not a huge Harry Potter fan. This is really, really cool. Massive open world, create your own like wizard character set before the Harry Potter universe. Attend classes, do quests, learn magic, create things. The magic is supposed to be like really open, like what you can do with it.
I feel like it's gonna be overhyped. I feel like that's overhyped. I don't know if it's going to be good.
You've not seen the gameplay trailers for this. This thing looks absolutely insane.
We will see.
We've also seen the game previews for it, and the game previews have, the playable previews have been excellent.
We will see. I won't know anything until I play it.
This game is going to be on the Series X, the PS5, the PS4, the One.
And the Switch?
I say the Switch. I put a question mark there.
Probably.
It's confirmed for the Switch. I don't know how the fuck they're going to do that.
They always make it a less powerful game. So
what I'm thinking is it's going to be a cloud title similar to like Resident Evil Village or something like that. They've done that with a lot of bigger games on the Switch that even if you condense them down, they still wouldn't run well.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's going to be a cloud title. Who knows? This thing looks excellent. I'm not going to pre-order it because I'm not that convinced yet. I'm really optimistic, but I've learned my lesson about pre-ordering certain games like this, so yeah. Next up is Starfield, Series X and Windows, a new game by Bethesda. This was shot a couple years ago, and it's the first game since Xbox has purchased Bethesda, the first new game. They didn't really purchase them. Bethesda went over to Team Xbox, so it looks really cool. Big space RPG, lots of fun, crafting, Skyrim in space. Gonna be good.
Wow.
Moving on, I'm actually excited for this one. Legend of Zelda: The Fallen Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom.
That's totally something I'm hyped for.
Tears of the Kingdom / Fallen Kingdom. It's called Fallen Kingdom in the UK. I don't understand why.
Yeah, anyways.
Yeah, exactly in my mind. Yeah, the shitty Coldplay song.
Yeah.
But yes, so yeah, I'm actually really excited for this. I hope they do a bit more Zelda-esque elements instead of just like open world stuff that other
I
open world
wish
games
it
have
was
done.
like open world again. I love open world.
I don't mind the open world so much, but the last open world didn't feel like it took place in the Hyrule universe as we saw in previous games.
Listen, I love Breath of the Wild.
It just felt a bit too much like, open world, like, games like Assassin's Creed have done this. Let's just do that, but with Zelda.
Breath of the Wild is my favorite Nintendo Switch game.
That's fair. That's fair. Now, the reason I'm really excited for this one, though, is because up to this point, pretty much every single Zelda game has been the same fucking story. But this is supposed to be a direct sequel to Breath of the Wild.
And no gimmicks.
That we know of so far.
Other than being open world.
I hope that there's going to be a new gameplay mechanics and not just the same gameplay as the last one.
That would be so cool if it was, though. Like, I would just like to have the exact same but with a different world. Yeah. That would be awesome.
If it does that, it's not going to warrant a third one, though. That's the problem. They want to make another one. Like, in my opinion, the reason that God of War Ragnarok's not on Best Game of the Year is because if a sequel wants to be good or great, it has to be a good continuation of the first game or the previous game, but it also has to be unique in comparison and have unique experiences. That's why God of War Ragnarok, despite being a great game, not on my Games of the Year list.
Looks hype.
Yeah, so I'm excited about Zelda game. I played the last one on the Wii U. I got a Switch now. I can play this one on the Switch. Nice. Now, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. This is a follow-up to Jedi Fallen Order, which I had my own gripes with that game. I think the story was a bit maybe derivative. I thought Cal was maybe not the best character. He was a bit too perfect moral high ground, always made the right decisions kind of guy. No real, compared to previous Star Wars RPGs with characters like Galen Merrick or the Star Killer in the Force Unleashed series, there was no real, moral gray area, moral character arc for him. But I feel like the fact that they can expand the universe of this one, because now that game did really well, it kind of gives them the green light to expand that more. I'm excited for that one. It's going to be coming to EA Play. I don't know if it's going to be day one, but after I think maximum 6 months, it'll be on Game Pass Ultimate on EA Play, and you're going to get a deal. If you have a Game Pass Ultimate or EA Play, you'll get a deal on the games you want to buy it early. So that's awesome. You already get 10% off, I think. It's going to be more coming later. That's going to be sick. Dead Island 2. I put this one in here as a bit of a joke. This has been on all my Game of the Year hype list since 2014 when it was supposed to come out.
Oh, man.
This was announced at E3. It was supposed to come out in late 2014, early 2015. Kept getting delayed, but now there's playable gameplay for it. There's game previews. There's listings on storefronts. So it looks like we're finally going to get this. And I'm hyped. I really enjoyed the first time. You're on a big resort island.
Only took them 2 presidential terms.
Yep. Pretty much. Actually, no, exactly. Yeah. So I really enjoyed the first one. First person zombie killing action, lots of fun. This is gonna be on the current generation Xbox. The Series X, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Windows. I'm surprised it's not on the Switch. The Dead Island games, at least previously, were never super demanding.
Well, maybe that's why they waited 8 years.
I don't know. I mean, this one also, I think, different.
Depends on have you played the previews?
I have.
Does it seem demanding?
No.
Oh.
I know. I don't know. It's just whatever. I'm actually really excited for this one because I love Dead Island. I love those kind of zombie killing games, especially in a more open world too, where it's zombie games and restricted, closed off houses and corridors are a bit boring at this point. Open, if a game can make you feel terrified and scared in a big, bright, tropical setting, they did scary correctly.
What was
It's
it?
easy to make you feel scared in a haunted house with jump scares, whatever.
Totally.
Anyway, moving on. Speaking of scary and confined spaces, Dead Space remake, fucking hype. Love Dead Space. The series, Dead Space 3 wasn't that great, but the first 2 games are excellent. EA's kind of going into a remake phase with games that people have been asking for years. Add Skate 4 to this list.
Skate!
So this is really, really exciting. I love Dead Space. I'm not a huge fan of constricted, confined space horror games, but this is one of the ones I'm really excited for. If it's anything like the original 2 games, this thing is going to be another major contender for Game of the Year, for sure. Resident Evil 4 remake. The last Resident Evil games remakes for 2 and 3 have been excellent. This one is not going to be on the Nintendo.
Resident Evil?
Capcom.
Oh.
So this one, surprisingly, not on the Switch, despite the fact that Resident Evil 7, 8, and the 2 and 3 remakes have been.
Probably demanding.
Well, you say that, but Resident Evil 8 is on the Switch, and it's a cloud-only title, so I don't know why they wouldn't do that this time around, because it sold fairly well on the Switch and actually has good ratings. Despite being a cloud game, but yeah. Also, I should mention that Dead Space is going to be on the Series X, PS5, and Windows too. So that's all good. Also, that's why I said maybe Nintendo Switch later. They might bring Resident Evil 4 remake to Switch as a cloud title. No idea. Alan Wake 2, another kind of, I wouldn't say Alan Wake's a horror game. It's more of a thriller game kind of stuff, more science fiction stuff. It has been a very long time since the last game. We got a couple of spin-offs, but the success of Control that came out, 2019, really led to this game being finally getting off the ground. I'm psyched. I love Alan Wake. Just a great series.
Never heard of it.
It's kind of a thriller game. It's a lot of fun. A little bit of horror in it. Darkness, dystopian. But also it's very grounded, kind of set in a very realistic world, but just with a little bit of things that kind of break what we know about the world as it is today. Kind of fun. I really enjoyed those type of games. And moving on to news resolutions. Ben, you want to go first?
You should go first.
Okay. My first is to work out more. I've worked out quite a lot. My weight's down to the 170s, which is the best it's been since I was in middle school. And I've also built a lot more muscle mass. But Ben, what do you have?
I don't have New Year's resolutions usually. I put Houdini a bitch because I'm gonna disappear. But that's not real. I don't actually have New Year's resolutions. I feel like I never get to do them. So I'm not gonna Houdini a bitch. I'm here.
If you have any great ideas on how to Houdini a bitch, send them to Jenkins 123. Yeah, what?
We have the new podcast media update in order to do because I have to talk about things. Regular show number 1. Did you stop it already? Did
No.
you stop the podcast?
No, I just deleted the slide.
Okay, all right. New media, number 1, Richard and Mortimer. Number 2, regular show. Number 3, Family Guy. Number 4, I've been listening to music. Yeah.
Okay, so for me, it's music, obviously, and I'm watching Rick and Morty. I probably should have talked about this more at length.
Farzad!
No. Oh yeah, Paradise PD season 4 comes out soon.
With Farzad.
Tomorrow.
They're coming together.
Are they actually?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes,
Okay.
it's going to be a crossover.
I actually did not know that.
It sucks.
Anyway, so yeah, Paradise PD, so bad, but I'm gonna watch it.
Farzad is also
isn't bad though.
really
Like most of the time, reboots of shows are not always great. But seriously, Criminal Minds Evolution has been incredible.
We'll see.
What that show has been able to do with a TVMA rating instead of TV14 is good and dark and twisted, and I love it. It's really good. I've been watching Survivor season 43. It's actually getting really fucking good. Oh, it was a good one. It was a really good series. Ending was a bit, up to your interpretation.
Just like this podcast. Anyways, pretty much anything you'd like to use to Houdini a bitch. If you find a way out of Houdini a bitch, let us know. Send an email. One email to Jenkins123, Jenkins123@gmail.com. That's Jenkins123, Jenkins123@gmail.com. Bye, we hate you. Fuck you.